Hi, Contractor John here, and we're going to answer some more viewers' questions today. Our first question comes from Samuel, and he says, how do I calculate the square footage for my kitchen floor? Well, Samuel, our construction world is full of formulas that make our life a whole lot easier, and this is no exception. I want to digress for a minute and take an opportunity to plug my book, my new book, The Dimension Bible for Remodelers and Do-It-Yourselfers. There's a section in my book that talks about all these different types of formulas. This particular one, length times width equals area. This one, there's formulas for cubic feet, square foot. There's formulas to calculate roof. There's formulas to calculate how much stone you need to fill in your landscaping stone and mulch, and just formulas for every single thing you could possibly imagine. Area, volume, everything. So check out dimensionbible.com or contractorjohn.com. Take the link and head on over to Dimension Bible, and you'll find out some more information about it. Okay, enough of a plug for my book. What you want to do is length times width equals area. Now in your kitchen, if you're lucky, it's one big square or rectangle, and you could just take the length times the width, and there's your square footage, add your waste factor, and you're done. But more than likely, it's more complicated than that. I don't know if you're taking your cabinets out or if you're leaving them in and just tiling up to them. So if you're going to take cabinets out, obviously go to the walls with your measurements. If you leave the cabinets in, you can go to the toe kick of your cabinet. What you want to do is take and map out, draw out your kitchen on a piece of paper, and always round up. If it's 11'7", make the dimension 12. If it's 12'9", go to 13. Even if it's like 10'6", go to 11 feet. Draw all that on your paper, and then make the largest squares or rectangles you can make within that whole footprint. Okay, and then you're going to put it and do it in pieces. Then you're going to take the piece that didn't fit in the first original square rectangle. You're going to make another one. You're going to add all these together. The length times the width equals area for square 1. Length times the width equals area for square 2 or square 3 or whatever you have. If you have a triangular area, make a square out of it and then just cut it in half. All right. That would be the easiest way to do that. Then add all of those up and you'll come up with your square footage. Let's say you come up to 150 square feet in your kitchen. Now, different materials have different waste factors, so I'm going to kind of hedge a little bit here. If you're going to go with like something like a small mosaic tile or something that's like an inch square, the waste factor would be probably in the 3 to 5% range, somewhere in there. If you're going to go with an 18-inch by 18-inch tile, the waste factor may be 15 to 20%. It just depends on some of the material. If you're going to go with wood planking, how big are the planks? And are they directional? If they're the glue joints or something, can you use them, reverse them? Can you not use it? There's a whole bunch that enters into it. Each manufacturer should have an approximate waste factor when you're buying the product, but if you don't, the salesperson where you're buying it would have a kind of an idea too. But something, a general rule of thumb is about 10% waste, and if you've got larger tiles, you go up, or larger pieces of wood or whatever, you go up. And if they're smaller, you go down a little bit. So somewhere between 5 and 15%, 10 usually works. Now, also, when you're buying your product, make sure that you can return opened cases or pieces of this material. Because if you can, then just buy a little bit extra. If you don't use it, you can always take it back. But not all materials, not all suppliers allow you to do that. Some only take full cases back. So that'll get you through it, and I hope that helps. Okay, thanks, Samuel. Next question from Betty and Tom. We're finishing our basement into a game room, and we want to have a pool table. There's a column in the way. Can we remove it? Yes, maybe. Oh, this can go both ways. Yes, you can. You should be able to, but it depends on a whole bunch of things. And it always comes down to money. You can always do it, just how much is it going to cost? It depends. I'm going to assume there's a steel outlet column with steel beams. And I'm going to assume the steel beam goes from one foundation wall to the other, and this is a column in the middle. If the two steel columns are joined on this outlet column, that creates a whole other problem, okay? Either way this goes, I'm going to refer you to a structural engineer. That's who you're going to have to come and take a look at it and make the final determination if this is possible or not. You have to understand, you have to take the span of that piece of steel and what it's allowed to span and the load that's on it for the span, and see if you're at that max span or if you still have some room to go. I took one out last year, year before, in a basement project we were doing. The steel went from one beam pocket to another. There was a column in the middle, and the span was 3 feet short of the max. Well, we only had to move it 2 feet, so it was, in the realm of we can do this. He had a structural engineer come and take a look at the loads that were currently on there, because you don't know. I mean, they might have engineered the original house to be at the max load for that beam with that span. So it gets real complicated and stuff here. So answer is structural engineer, have them come take a look at it, and they'll be the one to determine if you can do this or not. So I wish I could have been more definitive help for you, but at least I pointed you in a direction here. So our last question for today comes from Hunter. Our concrete patio is sinking and sloping towards the house. Seems it has gotten much worse since last year. Do I have to get a whole new patio? Probably not, Hunter. You'll probably be able to salvage this if it's not too bad. One of the things you have to understand is when a slab is put in a patio against the house, it's generally sloped away from the house to keep water that does fall on it, and if the gutters overflow or whatever, it runs away from the house. Well, for whatever reason, it starts to sink and it gets level, and the water starts to go every way, and it runs in between the slab and the house and softens that dirt, and it sinks more from the weight. It sinks more, and the more it sinks, the more water goes, and the more it sinks, the more water goes, the more it sinks, the more water. It's a snowball rolling downhill effect. And having that much water up against the foundation is never a good situation. I don't know if your foundation is concrete or cinder block. I've seen cinder block foundations actually bow in the middle. Like if you put a straight edge on it, like 1.5 inches, the wall bowed out. I've seen them crack in the middle and then actually push the block out 1/8 of an inch. And I'm sure there's times when it happened more than 1/8. I've personally seen it bump it out 1/8 of an inch. So it's something you want to take care of right away. Make sure it gets taken care of. One option would be mud jacking. You know, the contractor that comes in, concrete raising, mud jacking. You can look under that in the Yellow Pages or just Google it in your area. They drill holes in the concrete slab, and under pressure, they inject a slurry mixture underneath that slab, and it helps to raise that slab up. Okay, so that would be an option if it's not too bad. Okay, another thing, if you do have to take the slab out, make sure that they pin the slab to the foundation so this doesn't happen again. Okay, they'll drill holes in the foundation, put rebar in there, metal dowel rods in the foundation and into the new area, and pour the concrete around these metal bars, and that will pin, in essence, the new slab to the foundation and help support the weight of that slab, not just on the ground, but the foundation will share some of that weight, so it will not have a tendency to drop down on you. So okay, that's it for that, Hunter. Hope that works out for you. Hope you find somebody and get your problem solved. So, this is Contractor John. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you have questions, same thing. Leave them below. I'll get to them as quickly as I can. Hopefully, I'll be able to make a video and answer your question in one of these podcasts. Head on over, as I said, to contractorjohn.com. Take a look at my link to the Dimension Bible. And on your way out, subscribe to me. I really would appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.